You know, it's hard to go live on air when there's a live NFL football game going on in London, but we have to do it. We've waited and as I'm talking, there's an interception on the field for the Chargers and the Titans. Yesterday we talked a lot about what was going to happen today, that there was a live NFL game as we do this show, and Tennessee and the Chargers are battling it out right now in London. It's almost halftime, so this could be your halftime show for Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Welcome in, everybody. I am Joe Eunice. Thank you for joining me on a glorious, great Sunday. A little bit chilly. It seems like fall is fully in effect here in the East Coast, and Halloween is what 10 days away from the calendar, and we got trick or treat days coming up at the end of the week, but I'm not going to start any place else than to recap what we saw yesterday in sports and to recap what is happening with GodfatherLocks.com. I mean, I'm overachieving everything that I've even thought I can do. The Dodgers, Joe, we said yesterday, Clemson. That was I kept saying it even after we went off air. Clemson. After I went off air, I kept saying, and then Albert, fine advertiser of the show, premier sponsor, goes, well, Clemson's not that legit. They're legit enough to win 41-7 and get a cover of 17.5. I told you the Dodgers yesterday were going to win Game 7. They won 5-1. I was chilling yesterday, as you can imagine, Joe, just hanging out, watching these games. It started with Temple. So I was only going to give you guys one free pick. I ended up giving you three, and they all won. Dodgers, Clemson, and Temple. So definitely a great start to the weekend. And as we've been rolling on GodfatherLocks.com, pick segment coming up at 11:15. Look, it's halftime of your game in London. So this is a great halftime show to interact and come on in and join on an NFL Sunday show. You know, doing this for a little bit of, now over a year, we know that Sunday shows hold more weight than the Saturday shows. And Joe and I were talking yesterday after the show. Saturday shows, always people are out doing things. College football doesn't get a lot of love. NFL Sundays are the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. This is what people, really focus in on. And they're all eyes on the NFL, even though I'm on here. One of my topics today, Joe, and I'm sorry I forgot to say this to you prior to the show about what we should throw out there. Yesterday was another reason why baseball, basketball, college football is all better than the NFL. The emotion, the atmosphere in Milwaukee last night was unlike anything else. And we talked about Game 7s yesterday on the show. We talked about why I thought Game 7s, and I think a lot of people across the sports landscape, nothing beats Game 7s, right? Game 7s are there's do or die. It's sudden death. That was the whole topic of the show yesterday. And nobody battled me on it. Not one person came on this show and tried to go toe-to-toe with me to argue me that Game 7s weren't greater than anything in sports. And it came in yesterday, even on a 5-1 game, the home run by Puig, the 3-run home run that basically put the Dodgers into the World Series, sent a shot, right? A shot to LA yesterday, winning that game. And that emotion right there, and even when it was 5-1, and even when it went to the bottom of the ninth, and Clayton Kershaw, one of the best pitchers in baseball, comes in to close out the Brewers, those Brewer fans were still juicing that they can somehow win that game, and you were still on the edge of your seat. So that's what makes Game 7, and I think that's what makes sports, these sports better than the NFL. How about Purdue beating Ohio State last night as an upset, the number 2 team in the country? I'm sure Penn State fans, after beating Indiana and getting a must-needed, they really needed that win. You saw Purdue go out and beat Ohio State. Not only beat them by a touchdown, not only beat them by 10 points, it wasn't just a last-second upset. They whooped their ass 48-20, and Ohio State now falls out of the graces of the top 5 for sure. And Michigan, who I came on the show yesterday and told you they are a contender. They are a playoff team. They make their way back in to the top 5 for sure as these rankings come out. So what did we learn yesterday? The Dodgers are going to the World freaking Series. They start on Tuesday as an underdog against the Boston Red Sox. I mean, you got to take the Dodgers, man. This team is destined to get back there and redemption. I always talk about revenge. I always talk about redemption. The Dodgers will be World Series champions before Halloween. How about that? Okay. Game 7's on Halloween night. I don't think it gets to Game 7. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers win on Tuesday and the Dodgers win in 5 or 6 games over the Red Sox. But baseball, to me, it got some life in it right now. It's the World Series, the Fall Classic, and like as Joe said, baseball. Yesterday we were talking about it, and it's hard to sell, and people just they would look at it and say it's baseball, it's boring. I can't watch a 9-inning game, and you start crying like a pansy. You can watch. It's 9 innings, okay, but it's an emotional. It's an emotional game. These are playoff games. This is the World Series. And as I had the Dodgers and the Red Sox to get here, and that was the World Series prediction coming into it. If you were a member of GodfatherLocks.com, you could sign up right now. NFL Sunday, free picks coming up at 11:15. We talked about baseball yesterday. We talked about Game 7. And I was sitting here last night, Joe, and I sat here and said that these sports, and then not to mention Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo, which I was asleep for. Unfortunately, I fell asleep at 1 o'clock. I couldn't make it to the end of that game. I ran out of gas. I just, from waking up at 6 on Saturday morning, I couldn't make it to, I usually make it to 2 a.m. Yesterday, I passed out. The Game 7 and all the college football yesterday just burned me out. But we saw a brawl. Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul, a fist fight. I mean, I tell people to go on. I should have posted the link on the YouTube page, but everybody's talking about it in the NBA. Chris Paul says Rajon Rondo spit on him, and then he threw a punch, and there's going to be suspensions and all this hoopla. But, I mean, you talk about an NBA season that I just said yesterday was off to an amazing start. We've seen some really good basketball games the first couple of days of the season, and then this happens. We're talking about fighting. Usually in the NBA, you see like a little scuffle, and they push each other, and it's not that vicious. There's really not anybody getting hurt in these fights. It's always a tap. But yesterday, Brandon Ingram instigates the whole thing. He pushes James Harden, and you have to go to YouTube and look up Chris Paul punching Rajon Rondo. I can't even explain how this scuffle happened yesterday. So not only did we get a Game 7, not only did we see the number 2 team in the country go down, we also saw Alabama and LSU on a collision course for what's going to happen in 2 weeks down there in Baton Rouge, however they say it in French. That game in 2 weeks is going to be phenomenal. That was epic in itself. We saw Temple pull off a great upset. I mean, they were a favorite, but we saw Temple beat Cincinnati. There were some really good games. We saw Clemson beat the living crap out of NC State and solidify themselves as a top-tier team. And, of course, continuing that idea that speaking of collision course in Alabama, will face each other again. There was a lot going on yesterday, and then we had a brawl to end the night. So, how is this show going to work today? There's a lot of ways you can reach the show. There's a lot to talk about. I'm still juiced from the Dodgers going to the World Series. So, if we want to talk about that, we can discuss it, what we saw from the Dodgers, what it means for the World Series. They are a plus 100 underdog in the World Series against the Red Sox, so we'll discuss that. I think the Dodgers are a hands-on bet, must bet for this World Series. I think they are the play. They are the team to take in this World Series. I mean, as much as I like the Red Sox and what they've done, winning 108 regular season games, knocking out the Yankees and the Astros handedly, easily, right? I do think the Dodgers are the pick in the World Series. We can discuss that as well. Your thoughts on Ohio State losing and basically shocking the world. Right now you see a number 2 team losing like that on the road in Purdue. They were a 12-point favorite yesterday. I stayed away from the game completely. I thought Clemson, Temple, Washington State, they were better picks overall than Purdue. But we saw Ohio State go down. What does that mean for teams like Michigan? What does it mean for a team like LSU? We've seen Ohio State in the past take a loss and get themselves right back into it if they run the tables and get to the Big Ten championship. It's going to be a little bit different this year when they, for them to get back in the mix in the Big Ten. So we'll discuss what happened yesterday. Look, Dodgers win Game 7. You got a lot of college football reaction, but it's an NFL Sunday. It's halftime in London, so I welcome everybody to the show. My man Brandon's online. Danny Deuve's back in the chat room. Joey Hadid's back in here as well. So Joe, Brandon, Chris, we see a lot of people tuned in right now. I see my man Ray tuned in as well. So all you guys tuned in. Interaction is key. Give me your thoughts on the Dodgers winning yesterday in Game 7. What we saw in college football. Halftime. Chargers 10, Titans 6 out there in London. We can discuss that as the game goes on as well. So I know people are going to watch this game, and I don't blame you. I'm going to try to bring it up on the iPad as this show goes on in the second half. But if we want to interact, we can do so here on the show. Top 5 NFL games of the day, okay? That's what we always do here on a Sunday. We always go through what we like on the board. We'll mix in some Eagles talk. Of course, big one today in the link. Panthers, Eagles. Cam Newton has struggled against the Eagles mightily in the past years. The Eagles have their number, right? The Eagles own Cam Newton. So we'll talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. And now people are starting to say the Eagles offense, Joe, got their groove back. The Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, who all they did was beat your Giants last Thursday. People forget about what they did before that, right? You forget about how the Eagles have struggled and didn't look too good against the Colts, and they didn't look too good the week after that against the Vikings when they lost at home. Now, I'm watching NFL Network in the morning, and they're saying the Eagles are back. Carson Wentz is back, okay? The offense has got that rolling going. They got that feel going. And then I listened to the local radio last week, and I see people saying, hold on a second. Do it against a team that actually is a contender. Do it for a consecutive week. Because in the NFL, it's week to week, right? We've seen teams play very well one week and then lose the next week. We see a team lose to the Buffalo Bills, but they come back and beat the New Orleans Saints. It happens. This is the NFL. It's wild and it's crazy. So if the Eagles today, and I'll go out on a limb and I'll say this, if Carson Wentz goes out there today and beats the Carolina Panthers and does it in its dominating fashion, which they're a 5-point favorite today at home, then we can sit there and say, okay, the Eagles are back, right? But if they go out and they play a game where they struggle offensively, Cam Newton gashes them, Carson Wentz looks a little frustrated, he's missing his targets, they're not fully healthy, and we start to see the Eagles, then it's right back where we were 2 weeks ago. And then the Cowboys play the Redskins at 4:25 today in the NFC East, and one of those teams can kind of grab hold of that NFC East lead. So I don't think it's one game where you can say the Eagles are back. And I know we have a lot of Eagles fans listening right now, but you are a Super Bowl champion team with arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the game right now at full health, when he's fully healthy. It's going to take far more than beating the New York Giants to say you're back. Okay? Am I crazy by saying, okay, the Eagles they're the Super Bowl front runner now? Like, there have been people are saying that. Listen, you beat the 1-4 Giants, who are now 1-5.
Listen. And I know some people are going to get a little mad, but every year, as soon as a certain team gets the number 1 draft pick, or they get the guy they've had their eye on that belongs to a so-and-so team, preseason, Super Bowl.
Well, it's always somebody that says that, But now the Eagles, who have a Super Bowl,
it's always usually the same team.
The same team, same fans. But no, now that the Eagles have a Super Bowl ring under their belt, right? Nobody expected them to start the way they had started, though. I mean, nobody saw this coming. I know everyone said Carson Wentz is still a little banged up. We all knew that was coming into the situation. But for the Philadelphia Eagles today, this is the game, okay? And you're a Giants fan, so Joe can tell you this. I mean, you know what's going on with New York, even though I like them tomorrow, by the way. I think they can get a big win tomorrow against Atlanta. But everybody knows what's happening to the Giants this year. The Eagles went on the road. They handled their business 10 days ago. No doubt about it. But in the NFC, the Giants are at the bottom of the totem pole right now. So the Eagles want to be back there in the Super Bowl conversation. This is a game today where they need to dominate. Yeah. They go out and beat Carolina 34-10 or 34-13 the way they beat the Giants. Nobody's saying a word. Now you're saying, okay, this is the game. This is the turning point in the season. I know Doug Peterson said this is the spark we needed. Absolutely. You go on the road and beat any team in the NFL, or not even on the road. If you win any game in the NFL, that's an important win. But this is a game today where I think the defense needs to play better. The team needs to rally around the offense, and we got to see Carson Wentz get a little more edge to his step and get back in that groove.
Well, we used to call them the tune-up games.
Yeah, exactly.
In boxing, before you really start going after like the title and like
big time repeating as champion. Yeah, like that's the conversation.
The contenders, the couple of guys that are before you that you need to beat before you go for the belt.
Yeah.
Your trainer would give you a couple tune-up bouts.
Easy wins.
And not so much easy, but they feel that your skills are where they need to be to beat them, build your confidence, work on your jab and all that. Yeah. So the beginning games were tune-up games.
Yeah.
They mean something because every win counts as a win.
Absolutely.
Win's a win.
Yeah. Well, not only was it a tune-up game for the team, it's a tune-up game for the quarterback who came off of a big injury.
But you have to be tested.
Absolutely. And today's a test. And I see a lot of people commenting, Joe, and that's a good, very, very good analogy because the Eagles were tuned up for, the Colts game was kind of a tune-up. The Giants game was a tune-up to try to get them back on the right path. We see a couple comments. Misho, thank you, Misho.
It was a scrimmage, dude.
Well, the Giants we're going to get into that, by the way. I know it's 11:03. I do want to talk a little Giants, what's going on with Odell Beckham and his dad. We're going to get into that in a minute. But Misho says you can't trust Cam Newton. He's too inconsistent. I agree, and a lot of people think that I said this on this show. The Panthers aren't the greatest challenge in the world for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, this Panthers team always gets a lot more respect than I feel like they deserve. Christian McCaffrey's a nice player. Cam Newton, very inconsistent. He can hurt you with his feet, but the Eagles have owned them. The Eagles have dominated Cam Newton for years. So this is one of the top 5 games of the day when looking at the NFL as a whole. But personally, I think the Eagles should dismantle Carolina today. I think they should. That doesn't mean they are. I'm not touching this game with a 10-inch pole. I would not bet on this game. I would not take this game. It's a game where I'm staying away from. And as Eagles fans are listening in right now, just watch it.
Pick.
It is an unofficial. It's an unofficial pick. I think the Eagles will win if I was taking them on the money line, but I will not look at this game as any sort of confidence builder as going for or against the Eagles. My man Uncle Charlie tuning in. Good morning, Joe. He's watching. Thank you, Charlie. If you want to comment, of course, Uncle Charlie used to listen to me on the Fanatic back in the day, and I used to drive around those limousines listening in. I'm sure he's had some hot chicks in the back there when I was hoping they could hear my voice, and maybe they say, "Who's that guy on the radio?" That never happened, Joe, in my career. Ease, my man Ease is tuned in. Fantasy football. Every time I see Ease's name, I know I've tried to help Ease in the past. Fantasy football segment coming up at 11:30. Brought to you by the law offices of Albert Yakub, the Elias Market and Bake Shop, and of course Essence Hookah Lounge. That's coming up at 11:30 today. So if you have any fantasy football discussions, we can get into it at 11:30. Pick segment 11:15. We'll talk about that. 10 minutes. We got a GodfatherLocks.com segment. Joe, I think we need to go dark or you know what? Forget going dark. We'll put this shirt up right here. This is what it's all about. This is a shirt that was created, 6 years ago now? 2012. So we're on 6 seasons. This right here, this is what it's all about. I mean, I like this shirt, man. I got to lose 10 pounds to some listeners. I know some of my family members and friends got those shirts, but now we kind of want to shell them out to some fans. I've done that with the website with GodfatherLocks.com. Who's going to turn away a shirt, right? A free shirt, free hat, free shirt. We'll try to get some printed up and get it to you guys. So if you're interested, reach out to me on Facebook. I'll get you some. That's the clean version of this of the GodfatherLocks.com shirt. There is one that goes off the term backdoor, and I'm not going to elaborate anymore because this is a PG show. It's a PG show when I want it to be, but if I curse, then it's an R-rated show. My man Danny says, I agree, but people have to understand. My man Danny says, I agree, but people have to understand we put up those points against a Giants defense that has a great pass rush and a pretty good secondary. Absolutely agree. The Giants defense. Shitty quarterback. Even though I think tomorrow. This is just a hunch, Joe.
I feel bad. They got me talking bad about my Giants.
But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. But I have a little gut feeling that the Giants play a better game tomorrow. I will get into that in the pick segment coming up. Eagles versus Panthers. This is from Joey Hadid. Eagles versus Panthers. The passing game and the kicking game is going to be a challenge because of windy conditions. Yes, the temperature is low. But listen, I think I call bullshit on all this weather stuff because you saw yesterday when was it Wisconsin and Illinois up there in Wisconsin? It started to snow out of nowhere. I don't think they expect all that snow up there in Wisconsin. You play through that. I mean, you're an NFL football player. Like, the windy conditions, yeah, with the kicking game, sure. I mean, you're not going to kick a 60-yard field goal in this kind of weather, but this is football, right? Rain, snow, playing it. I mean, you're professional. We saw.
That's it. Actually, it's like real football from like 1930.
Yeah, it's like, are you really worried about the wind?
No special heaters on the sidelines or anything like that.
Yeah. I just don't think that like the wind is like in your mentally the quarterback. Like you think Carson Wentz is saying, well, I can't throw this 30-yard pass because the wind is going to impact the trajectory of the ball. I mean, I think it's in the game plan, but you as a football player, you can't think like that. You got to go out there and play your game. I think we all can agree like that. You've played in nasty weather back in high school. I'm sure you guys went out in the mud and went out in the snow.
We played in rumble fumble in like nasty weather. Yeah. Christmas Day, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And you didn't stop you guys from playing?
Yeah, I mean, it was cold.
Yeah. Ben Schaefer, my man Ben. I mentioned him yesterday. How about Temple getting a big win yesterday? Ben, my old Temple friend there down in Philly, says, love watching you do your thing, Joey. What a badass. I like to consider myself as a badass. I don't know. What do you think, Joe? A badass, but I'm a little aggressive. The aggressive nature.
What's the term?
Snappage.
What's the term? Passionate.
Passionate is a very good word. That's been used against me before in my career. Joey Hadid says, I will definitely take a Godfather Lock shirt. All right. Sounds good, Joe. And, of course, everybody listening in live, I see my man Sal Rufino tuned in. Again, premier sponsor of the show. I cannot stress enough how much I love my sponsors, right? Have made this show possible. They've believed in me, whether good or bad, right? From the start, have taken me on. And Biagio Pizzeria Restaurant is just kicking ass right across the Lehigh Valley. So I thank Sal for tuning in. And, of course, Biagio has the pizza pizza, the wings. But I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday who said he went to Charlie's Cheesesteaks right down the road. Charlie's Pizza has and I said, dude, their cheesesteak sucks. I said, the best place to get a cheesesteak from in this area is Biagio Pizzeria. You got to try their cheesesteaks. This is coming from a Philly guy, too. So Ben Schaefer's online right now, Temple guy. You got to check out Biagio Pizzeria, 1526 North Cedar Crest Boulevard. Again, I mentioned these advertisers because they're local businesses. Red Jewelers, the law offices at Al Yaqub, The Cut, Your Lehigh Valley Realtor, Eli Boutros, Laziz Mediterranean Grill, JDM Photography, and Meza Middle Eastern Cuisine. Those 8 right there have made this possible and have continued to make this show grind and do this for you guys. And I see a lot of people tuned in. It's because it's halftime right now that everybody's tuned in. And it's an NFL Sunday.
Well,
it's an NFL Sunday.
Everybody's awake. It's Saturdays. Everybody's recovering from their hangovers. I feel like this week has been a long week.
It has been.
Because it started a little lukewarm, and then next thing you know, you're getting up for work in the morning, and it's cold as hell.
Yeah, well, and people are ready for Thanksgiving too, man. I feel like everyone's I'm ready for it. I'm ready for Halloween.
I don't even feel like it's October or Halloween. I feel like it's November, and that we're getting ready.
For it. Exactly.
Halloween got skipped.
Yeah, don't tell that to the little kids though. The kids love that trick.
I'm seeing people post, "Oh, I'm going to a Halloween party." And I'm looking at it. I'm going, "It's October." I felt like
you feel like it's November.
October.
Well, the weather does that to you. So I see a lot of people tune in, some new faces. Of course, if you guys want to tune in, give me some interaction. Top 5 NFL games of the day. I've talked heavily about the Eagles for the first 20 minutes of the show. Look, it is a big game for Philadelphia today. I think today is important because the Eagles, yes, they beat the Giants 10 days ago by 21 points. We understand that. This one today is a great way to really spark this team. Do they get the victory? I think they do, but it's going to be tough. I don't think they dominate the way a lot of people think they do. I'm not touching it. In 5 minutes, GodfatherLocks.com pick segment is coming up here in a few minutes, and we'll talk about some of the games that are going on in the NFL today. Other games to look out for. How about the Patriots and the Bears today in Chicago? No Gronkowski for the Patriots. Look, I'll come out and say it right away. And I listened to Stephen A. Smith earlier in the week up in New York radio on 98.7. I listened to him because he's a passionate guy, right? Joe just mentioned passion about the Across the Board Sports Talk Show. I like listening to other guys that have passion because you start to see that real sports talk, right? You start to see that edge that people say, well, you can't say it on ESPN because it's PG. Everybody's conservative on ESPN now. That's why Fox Sports is dominating the hell out of ESPN because people are saying what they fully believe. Stephen A. said it the other day. That Chiefs-Patriots game that we discussed, Joe, last Sunday with Mahomes and Brady, it takes a lot out of each team. So I think New England today, and I don't want to tease what I got coming up in 4 minutes. I am teasing it. The Bears are going to give them a handful. That's one of your top 5 games today. Saints-Ravens. The only team that Drew Brees never beat is the Baltimore Ravens. In the NFL, Drew Brees has been in the NFL for 14 seasons. He has never beaten the Baltimore Ravens. How about that?
You know what? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and the trend may continue today in Baltimore. Panthers, Eagles, we've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it on Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Of course, if you want to chime in, at JOEYOUNES15. We are on YouTube Live. Across the Board Sports Talk Show. We are on Facebook Live, Across the Board Sports Talk Show, and on my personal page, Joey Younes, JOEYOUNES. Ben says confirmed badass. So he's confirming that I am a badass. My man Ben definitely giving me some love. I'll take that, Ben. I like the passionate badass. How about that? The adjective, the passionate badass. Micho says the Mora family is regretting not drafting Sam Darnold, who was able to put the Jets back on the map. Now New York City belongs to the Jets, not the Giants. How about that from Micho? Now I'll say this, though. I will say this. I don't think they fully regret it because they got Saquon.
Technically, the Jets belong to Jersey.
It's true.
I'm going to go with that.
They both play in Jersey, though. The Giants play.
That's because we own a little bit of that Jersey part, so that's ours.
Well, you know what's crazy? That the Jets, so speaking of listening to Stephen A. Smith, they're only talking about the Jets right now. They have gotten that headliner because they're the 3-3 team. Of course, the Giants are 1-5. The only conversation the Giants have been involved in is this Odell Beckham. His dad comes out and he's running his mouth, and it's a mess up there in New York. And now they're turning it back on each other. And who's gonna step up and say something in that locker room? Is it gonna be Eli Manning? Is it gonna be Saquon Barkley, who's a rook? I ain't going to be a rookie that's going to come out and say something for the Giants. It's going to be a leader. It's got to be Eli Manning, and he has that confused face that everybody talks about when things aren't going too well. Ease McCool says, college talk quick. How bad did Ohio State blow their chances at the college football playoff by getting blown out by Purdue? Ease, look, I'm gonna say this, guy. I said this about 20 minutes ago, too. we've seen Ohio State take a loss earlier in the season and have come back and have, ran the tables and made a college football playoff because these pollsters, right? The committee of the college football, they love Ohio State. They love Urban Meyer. They sweat him, right? They think this guy's like, one of the best, and he is one of the best coaches in college football. So the only way they can not blow their chances, the only way they can get back into this mix is if they run the tables and they absolutely dominate Michigan in a couple of weeks there in that last game of the season. But I hope they don't because they're a fraudulent team. Look, Penn State blew their chance when they didn't beat this Ohio State team. Purdue finished the job. They kind of knocked them, like it's like a boxer, right? Took a punch to the stomach, another punch to the stomach, and then Purdue came over with the haymaker. You learn a lot about how much of a fraudulent team this Ohio State team is. And, you saw that offense really struggle against a Purdue defense that, yes, Purdue has been playing much better than in recent weeks than they've been. I had Purdue last week when they went on the road against, was it Illinois? And then I had Purdue against Nebraska a few weeks back. I've actually taken Purdue the last few weeks and have done it with confidence. So I think they blew their chances, but let's not forget which committee we're talking about. They're going to go from 2-8, 2-9, 2-7, somewhere in that range. I don't think they're completely shot and dead until somebody else knocks them off one more time. Christina says, go Eagles. My cousin, hello, Christina. Christina and Chris are big supporters of the show. Absolutely, nothing but family, right? You got to support family, and family supports each other. And I love the fact that Christina and Chris tune in. Big shout out to everybody that tunes in on the chat room, but it's even better when it's family. So I definitely appreciate it. She says, great show, cuz thank you. I really appreciate that, Christina, and everybody chiming in. Let's keep the interaction going. I think the second half is back in London. I can't watch it on my tablet while I'm doing the Facebook live chat. So we're definitely gonna have to try to get you updates as we can, and we'll go back and forth. But a big, NFL game going on in London. Chargers Titans getting the Sunday started at 9:30 in the morning. Now, what are your thoughts before I get to the GodfatherLocks.com segment? I feel like every year we talk about this, not only on the show but nationally. Are you guys fans of these Sunday morning games in London? Like, are my listeners on the show, do you like the idea of an NFL game starting at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday? Because there are people who complain about this thing. They say, you're going to really start a game at 9:30? It's 17-13. Oh, so the Titans, wow, we got 2 quick touchdowns. My man Jeff tuning in and saving the day right now. 17-13 Chargers, third quarter, 9 minutes left. So we had 2 quick touchdowns coming out of the locker room there. It was 10-6 was a halftime score. So the Titans finally got in the end zone. Definitely much needed for Tennessee. So 17-13 Chargers, third quarter, 9 minutes left as the latest update from Jeff. And of course, a big supporter of the show. Jeff has a day off. He's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Steelers aren't playing today. They're resting up for next week. So it's a little bit different, when you have a bye week. All right, here we go. So E says, I didn't even know there was a game. So my whole thoughts, now I'm a crazy sports fan, not only because of the show, but obviously because of GodfatherLocks.com and because a lot of things that we're involved with here on the show, on Across the Board Sports Talk Show. And again, I will reset because I have a record number of listeners right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's an NFL Sunday. I appreciate all the clicks and stuff like that. Everybody tuning in, this is an interactive sports show, okay? It's a sports talk radio show, open forum. You can jump on the chat room. I will talk every comment left. Unless you curse at me. I like to curse, but I don't like being cursed at. It's one of those things, right? It's like what's it, damned if you do? No, not damned if you do. There's a saying for that. Like, I can dish it and you can't take it. I can dish cursing, but I don't like taking it. Well, I don't like when someone curses at me. I don't know what the saying is.
You can dish it out, but you can't take it.
Yeah, dish it out, you can't take it. That's how I am. So you can leave a comment. I'll get it on air, and we'll talk. Try to keep it sports related. If it's a movie or an entertainment question, that's why Joe's here. He'll help me out with it. I'm not a big movie guy. But I love the fact that there's a 9:30 game. I think it's freaking phenomenal. It's just another way to watch a game. It's another way for betting purposes. It's another way for fantasy football. It gets those juices flowing. You don't have to wait till 1 o'clock. But there is an abundance of people, a lot of people that hate this whole London experience, this whole international experience. But why? Tell me why. It's more NFL. Don't you people want more games? Doesn't everybody want more of something? They'll say more. You always want more. This is what they're trying to do. Now, Thursday Night Football it's been good this year other than what we saw last Thursday. Everybody rips Thursday Night Football, right? They say Thursday Night Football in the NFL is such a joke. Overall, the games have sucked over the years. But the 9:30 game, right, on a Sunday morning, this is NFL Sunday. Why would you be against it? I would love to hear what people have to say about that. Now,
I think it's awesome.
I think it's great too. You wake up in the morning. This game ends right when the other games start. So basically, we're gonna have football from 9:30 in the morning until the Sunday night game goes off the air at about 12 o'clock.
Well, you got to think about it. We're spoiled here.
Yeah.
If we want to catch a game live,
yeah,
we could just easily buy tickets on our phones, the internet, however, and just drive to.
You mean to go to a game?
Just to go to a game.
Go to a game. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You know, I'm sure our games are broadcasted over there, but is it as convenient as it is for us here? You know, there's Giants fans out there.
Yeah, well,
Eagles
it's
fans,
true, and you know why? And that's a good point because today there were fans.
Cowboy fans.
There were fans with all kinds of jerseys in that stadium. They're not there, and you can actually wager on the games like right across the street from Wembley Stadium in London. It's been legal there for years. I think prostitution is legal there.
What do you call them? Quids? I put foot quids.
Yeah, whatever. And that's awesome though. But they love the games. They see all jerseys from different teams. They go out there. They support they watch the games because it's the NFL. It's a product that has come to their country. I'm getting some interactions. Oh, Danny says it defeats the purpose of home field advantage. It sucks. Now, let me preface.
I see his point. But
yeah.
You can really. I mean, for the NFL, this would be huge.
Oh yeah.
Because you have your home field advantage and keep it the same here. This is our NFL, our Super Bowl, and then you can take it where they'll be part of the regular season.
Yeah.
Or someone really needs to think this out, not me, obviously. But you can do somewhere you have our Super Bowl and then you got the international, like the Intercontinental belt and all that.
Well, did you see the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to? They might even buy out. That they want to move their team to like an international team. They want to become the Jaguars. The owner. Yeah, they want to try to expand this. Now, I do see some comments coming in from Chris. Says morning games are the best. Randy, of course, the Lehigh Valley Driving Network School. I think I always get that mixed up. Lehigh Valley Network Driving School, I think is what it's called. But Randy's a big supporter of the show. Great friend of mine for many years. Says, Micho, after watching Barkley, I'm going to say that is not the case, and they have no regrets. I agree. Now, they do need a franchise quarterback, but that's why you have a bad year this year, and then you get yourself a quarterback next year to go with Saquon Barkley. Helen says, of course, she says that early game is too early, but it is afternoon over there. I'm a big soccer fan. So when I watch games in the Premier League in London, it's always I'm waking up I just did it yesterday. Manchester United versus Chelsea. I was up at 6:30 getting ready for that game. It started at 7:30 a.m. I'm an American. I watched that game. Danny says it ruined the home field advantage. It ruins home field advantage for the teams involved. And Danny is an Eagles fan. He's salty because next week they got to go. They play Jacksonville in London next Saturday. So Eagles fans, this is actually a good subject for next week. Eagles fans are going to have to wake up early next week. Eagles fans are going to have to see the Eagles and the Jaguars 9:30 in London next week rather than 1 o'clock here on a Sunday. So it is an advantage for a fan, like when your team's not playing there, or a player. I'm sure players are not excited to go over and fly to London, right? I don't think they're going crazy to go over there from here. But those English fans over there,
some might not. I mean, I don't know how I would feel.
Yes. Helen says they don't do football all day over there. No, they're more of a soccer. They back the soccer over there. Misho says expanding in any business is admirable, but I am sorry, the NFL can't compete with soccer in Europe. Misho, I don't think that's that he's absolutely. I'm a huge soccer fan. Everybody knows that. I'm not. That's not a debate. They're not trying to compete with them. They're trying to open their market. Like they play that game in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. The Mexicans aren't the greatest football fans in the world. They still love their soccer in Mexico. They're going to watch it because they know that it's going to try to expand that international series. I don't think they're trying to say we want our ratings to go up in England because soccer. We want to take out the Premier League. That's not what they're trying to do. Soccer in Europe is going to be the cream of the crop. Like the NFL is the cream of the crop here. That's no debating that. All I'm asking is whether or not you guys are fans of doing this whole morning spiel, waking up at 9 o'clock to watch an NFL game, or is it oversaturation? I love that word. Is it being oversaturated? Is it being thrown in our face to say, well, this is too much. It's too much product. Let me do 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. That's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch a game at 9:30 in the morning. I want to be left alone. I want to drink coffee with my family. I want to do this. I want to set my fantasy lineup. I want to go out and jog. I want to pet my dog. I don't know what everybody does on a Sunday. But is it too much saturation? because the NFL has been criticized that they've been doing too much, like baseball, right? Baseball has their set schedule. They never did anything out of their normal possibility. The NBA, typically on a weekday, the NBA starts at 7 o'clock. You have a couple big games. Last night, they blew the hell out of Rockets and Lakers because it was LeBron's home opener as an LA Laker. These leagues don't go outside of this box, okay? Micho said it's admirable to expand in any business. It is. But are we ripping the NFL or are we admiring what they're doing by going to London? That's always been a debate. It's been a debate for years. I love it because I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports junkie.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
London, before they even started doing it, you kind of could see that there was a possibility in the future. Mm-hmm. And we're a couple years ago. You could always see that because they tend to be, let's face it, do your history. America, everybody came over from you know where and all that. So it was eventually something was going to happen with London. Mm-hmm. You know, it would happen first with London before it would happen with Yugoslavia or something.
It's a great market.
You know what I mean?
It's a great market.
But in Canada, you knew someone somehow was going to expand into those two places.
Yeah. Well, NFL tried the NFL Europe years ago.
If you can get those soccer fans to go as nuts as they do for soccer.
Oh my God.
Over the NFL overseas, from a business standpoint.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's a win-win.
It's just domination.
It is.
Yes, you won't be number one because soccer is number one.
Yeah, but I don't know why I'm not taking it there. I'm not taking it there though. Like you know, Micho's saying
to get everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not even talking. Like, look, I'm going to be cruel frank. I don't care about the Londonians over there, the British. I don't care. The English people. I don't care.
To wake up early and watch the NFL games over here.
Exactly. But I'm worried about us. I'm worried about the American, like these football fans that are tuning in right now.
Listen,
everybody tuned in.
Got it good, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think it's a great way. Now, Elias says it is a nice way to wake up and have breakfast and watch an NFL game. Absolutely. Danny says, I'm pissed because he's an Eagles fan. No, but he's an Eagles fan. That's why he's pissed. He doesn't want to see them go to London next week and have to wake up early and watch this game, and they lose a home field game. They lose a game in America.
Well, let's face it. You know, you work hard all week. Friday night you go out, and Saturday morning you want to sleep in a little bit. Now
you have to wake up Sunday morning. Yeah.
Now for some people 9 o'clock is sleeping in.
Yeah, I don't know how people.
For some people 9 o'clock on a Saturday is too damn early. I know if you call me that early, I'm gonna choke someone.
Really? Yeah. See, I'm up at 6 every day, so it doesn't bother me too much. Helen says no, but next week we'll get up because of the Eagles. Okay, so Eagles fans will definitely make a point to watch this game next week. Are you watching Titans and Chargers? George, I'm gonna get to Chris Jerry in a second. George says the game is at 9:30. How late do people sleep in? I'm up at 6. I was up today at 6 o'clock. How late do people? I'm asking you guys because I love this stuff. I love the fact that it's 9:30. I'm actually pissed I'm doing the show right now and I can't watch it. I'm trying to figure out a way to get this thing on my iPad and watch this. It's on my Sportacular app, and I'm gonna try. Let me get an update. Let me pull this in before I get back to the comments. Everybody on Facebook, look, I think it's awesome to have it. It is 17-13 still. 5 minutes left in the third. The Titans just get the ball back. I think it's awesome. I think it adds an element, and I've been on this record, and everybody knows this, listening to Across the Board Sports Talk Show. I rip the NFL every freaking chance I get because I hate it. Everybody listening right now, I talk about it because of you guys. I don't talk about this league because I love the NFL. I'm a big college football fan. I love the NBA. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge soccer fan. I'm a huge football fan, and I will watch the NFL, and I'm a diehard NFL fan. I don't like the product. You ever look at a meal, you sit down on the table, and your wife or your mom or whoever else makes you a meal, and you're like, you know what? I mean, I got to eat, so I'm just going to eat the dish and shut my face. I mean, I like it, but I don't love it. And I have a lot of criticism of this dish, but I'm going to eat because I'm thankful to have a dinner. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to eat this dish. That's what I am with the NFL. I watch it because it's there. I watch it because I have to. I watch it because it needs to be done. That's me. So a 9:30 London game, I'm watching it. But a lot of people hate the fact that if they don't have a fantasy implication, they don't have money on the game, they're like, you know what? Do I really need to care about football at 9:30 in the morning? Let's get to some more comments. Chris, I love early games because we're on the East Coast, but I would be pissed to have to get up early on the weekend to have to watch a game. Well, Chris, I'll tell you this. Every Christmas, every December, me and my family take a trip to the West Coast, and we visit my sister-in-law out in Oregon. And I love visiting her, and I love her very much. And we go and we visit the family, and we take some time to sit back and have some Christmas time with family. It's a great time to see her and the kids, and you're with family around Christmas. And I absolutely love the fact that the games start 3 hours earlier. I live it every December. My family out there in the West Coast, they live it every Sunday. They're up, those 1 o'clock games that we watch at 1 o'clock, they're watching them at 10 o'clock. So they already have to wake up every damn Sunday. We're doing it 3 times out of the year. There's 3 London games this year. It's not the end of the world. I think this is the best thing the NFL does, in my opinion. George says football on from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion. George, you're my man. That's what I'm talking about. It's sports from morning to night. I think it is great. It's a great thing that the NFL's doing. I'm all for it. I don't say that very much on Sundays. I don't say that very much about what Roger Goodell does, because I think the guy is a POS. I think he's one of the worst owners, one of the worst managers and commissioners in sports. I think he's the worst. We do want to get to the GodfatherLocks.com pick segment. There's 2 reasons why I probably have a record number of listeners on the show right now, because I missed the pick segment. We're getting into this London game debate, and because there's football going on right now. So this is helping my cause. The NFL being on right now has gotten people to jump on their phones or sitting back, hand in their pants. They're watching Titans, Chargers, and now they're timing in on Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Chris says, I hate the Cowboys. Joey Hadid says, if I was using your NFL product as an example, Joey Hadid says, if I was using your NFL product as an example, that is why the discussion of broccoli came up. I like it, Joe. I'm not arguing that. But my wife thinks broccoli smell like farts, even though they're very good for you. So that's all we're saying. I like the analogy of broccoli.
What the hell? I leave the room for 2 minutes?
No, what Joe is saying, Joey's saying that when we were children, you hated broccoli, but you had to eat it. So like the NFL, my analogy of the NFL, Joe, and you missed it, but I'm saying that the NFL is like that dinner that your wife or your mom makes that you're like, oh my, I could really do without this. Or that your wife or your mom makes that you're like, oh my, I could really do without this, but I'm going to shut my mouth because I have to eat, and I like to eat, and I enjoy eating, that I'm going to eat this dish. There are people that do that. I do it. I've done that before. I know my wife's listening. There are a few dishes that I'm not the greatest fans of. It's not what she has made. If the food tastes good, it's not what she's making. It's not how the food tastes. It's what the food is. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Honestly, I think every man can attest to that. They just don't say it out loud.
Well, I just did. That's why I'm aggressive badass, like Ben Schaefer said. Let's get an update in London. The Chargers got the ball back. They're driving. They're at almost about midfield, 17-13 Chargers over Tennessee. Got some more fantasy football questions. Of course, the fantasy football segment is brought to you by the law offices of Albert Yakub at 610-437-2185. And visit him at Yakub Law, YACOUBLAW.com. They bring you this fantasy football segment every show. Of course, free consultation, nothing to lose. Visit Albert Yakub for your law office's needs. That any problems you have, DUIs, drug offenses, whatever else that you want to talk about. Elias Market and Bake Shop in Allentown, off of Tillman Street, off of Union Boulevard, for the finest produce, meats, and everything else you need as far as cakes, desserts. Visit the Elias Market and Bake Shop and the Essence Hookah Lounge. Again, if you want to spend the night out, you want to have a good night, you want to smoke a hookah, check out the Essence Hookah Lounge, 3rd Street in Bethlehem, about 2 minutes away from the Sands Casino. Those are your advertisers of this specific segment, fantasy football. Let me try to catch up on the chat room. Elias McCool says Josh Gordon or Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is questionable right now. I think he's a game time decision. I know some people were saying he should play for Chicago. I love the Bears today. I'm going to get into the pick segment coming up. I know we're chasing the show, but I'm loving the interaction. I would go Allen Robinson. I think the Patriots offense struggles today. I said this at the top of the show, guys. Listen up. The Chiefs and the Patriots last week played a gruesome game, 43-40. It was a shootout. Took everything out of these teams. I will not be surprised if both the Chiefs and the Patriots struggle today. It takes a lot out of a team. I talked about it with Penn State and Ohio State. When Penn State took everything out of Penn State when they played Ohio State, right? When I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, I thought Penn State, it would linger, right? I thought it's going to hurt them for a little bit. That Ohio State kind of got that chip on them. They knocked off Penn State in such a big battle that it was a couple of weeks ago out there in Beaver Stadium. For me, I would take Allen Robinson ease, and I would stay away from anything to do with the Patriots today. I'm even benching Tom Brady in my fantasy football league, even though my team sucks ass. Okay, George, what do you think has hurt the NFL product the most? Oh, George, I want to have you over for dinner one day, George, so we can talk about this. The NFL, to me, has fallen out of the off my graces, right? I'm totally against what the NFL has done. The number one thing that I think hurt their product is the contact to the head, all this, the flags, period. You don't know what's a pass interference, what's an illegal contact. Every play you can't get excited about because you're just holding your breath for that flag to come out of a referee's pocket. That has ruined the NFL product the most by far. The rule changes, the kicking off and starting from the 25 and your extra points. I mean, I don't really care about all that stuff. The flags. Just like yesterday. Clemson, Dodgers. Those are my two picks yesterday. I was saying it all day, Joe. I was even telling my son Ace, Clemson and the Dodgers. 2-0, added Temple, 3-0, making my way right back into the GodfatherLocks.com segment, which is coming up. I'm going to string this along, man. When you are winning the way we're winning, I'm going to make people wait for this, for GodfatherLocks.com. I've got two picks that'll shake your pants there for a second, so I'll get everybody locked in and loaded. If you're in a pick pool, if you're in a survivor pool, chime in. I want to see if you need any help. We'll talk about that here on the show. Danny Diop says, Allen, never start a New England Patriot unless it's Brady or Gronk. So Danny, now ahead of what I was just saying, I think, and I'm benching Brady today. Call me crazy, huh? I am benching Tom Brady in my fantasy football league. Chicago, all right, let's do it. GodfatherLocks.com pick segment yesterday, 3-0 on the show. Temple, Clemson, and the Dodgers in Game 7. The Dodgers was the biggest pick in the site this week. I gotta get my updated stat. Here it is. Let me reach over here to my fancy paperwork of what we're going on the website right now. How about these statistics? 8-3-1 in 12 massive selections in website history. 8 out of 12. Today, there is the 13th ever, Joe. How about this? I love this. I feel like I'm a WWE wrestler when I say this stuff. The 13th ever mega pick of website history goes today in the NFL. It is a 4 o'clock game. I'll give it to you guys for free because I'm just a nice guy. And I want to make sure you guys get a win. And anybody listening for entertainment purposes, it's a massive selection. I'm going to get to it in a second. 34-9-2, 22-5-2, 12-3 college football run that GodfatherLocks.com is on right now. Baseball, 4 straight MLB playoff winners. The World Series starts on Tuesday. Take the Dodgers to win the World Series. Dodgers.
That's pretty bold.
Dodgers. It is bold. You know why it's bold, Joe? They're an underdog. True. Don't take the Red Sox. Dodgers. I'm getting exhausted. They're winning the World Series, guys. Plus 800 to play the Red Sox in the World Series. We hit it. Dodgers for the World Series, plus 550. We're going to hit it. Dodgers for the World Series. When you get to the World Series, plus 100, we will hit it.
Wow.
Dodgers are winning the World Series. It ain't going to go 7 games. So definitely Dodgers. And Lena is asking, you should say it like your Howard Dean impression. The one where he says, we're going to go to LA. We're going to go to this. Hoorah! That's what we're going to do. We're going to take it down. Dodgers. I'm so tired of winning. I see my man Spring. Robbie Awa. I got to get to Robbie here in a second. Robbie's got some great comments. My man Robbie's tuned in. Let's backtrack. There's just so much going on today. I can't catch up to this Facebook conversation. Lena says, let's see here. I'll make sure to make grape leaves and hummus. Please don't ruin my mood. We've got an NFL Sunday going on right now. So no hummus, no grape leaves. I can throw up just talking about that. Nobody wants to see it on the show. Helen says, great dinner, not for me. Laura, be over anytime. This is your house, Laura. You know that. We're not at home. We're at an undisclosed location. Sorry, I said that we're at home. We're not here. We're somewhere else. Misho, the NFL is the most watched show on 5 major American TV networks. Misho, I know. I watch it. I'm a hypocrite. I'm admitting I'm a hypocrite. I watch it because I have to watch it. I watch it because of Across the Board Sports Talk Show. I watch it because of GodfatherLocks.com. I don't watch it because I like it. I don't. I hate the NFL, man. College football yesterday, there is not many people in America that thought Purdue was going to beat Ohio State yesterday, Joe. In the NFL, you know how hard it is to see an upset that's of that caliber? And even if you lose, it's not going to end your college football dreams. It's not going to end your Super Bowl dreams because the next week you can come right back and beat the shit out of the Bills, beat the shit out of the Colts, and everything's fine. That's why the NFL These regular season games, unless you're in fantasy football or unless you're betting on games every game, these games don't hold that much weight. College football is do or die every freaking Saturday. That's why I like it. They can be the number one rated show. They can be it, and it is. I think Raw is the most longest running show on TV. WWE Raw.
Monday Night Raw.
Yes, but the NFL is the most watched American TV show. I understand that, and I watch it. I add on to those ratings. I'm not arguing it. I just think it's a joke. George agreed that the NFL's worst move was the flags. George says, always looking for a flag. I agree all the time. I can't even cheer for a freaking play because I'm waiting off in the passer. Exactly. That's why the NFL's a joke. Christina says, I'll buy Whoppers instead. We love Burger King. If Burger King can sponsor the show, they would sponsor it. That's like but we don't do chain restaurants here on the show. We do local businesses. Red Jewelers, Law Offices, Albert Coop, The Cut, your Lehigh Valley Realtor, Eli Boutros, Laziz Mediterranean Grill, Biagio Pizzeria, JDM Photography, Meza Middle Eastern Restaurant, Elias Market, The Wooden Match, Aladdin Restaurant, Essence Hookah Lounge, and Eric Alnor, my man, the counselor that everybody needs. And if you want to contact him, go to Eric Alnor LLC. Those are local businesses that we talk about. Robbie says, my Bucks will lose today to the Browns. They suck. I disagree, Robbie. I think the Bucks get a must-needed win. Today, Carlos Hyde is no longer there. I think Chubb is starting, and I think the Bucks get a win. Not one of my free picks. Again, 2 picks. I'm going to make you wait for it. The biggest pick in website history. We're giving it away for free, Joe. I got people paying right now. I got a couple notifications. People are paying for it. But yet I'm such a nice guy for all these people listening on YouTube Live and on Facebook Live. We're going to give it out for free. For free. What did we say yesterday? Clemson. And then Albert says the Clemson is not a legit opponent. Legit squad. I think they're pretty damn legit. They dropped 41 points against an undefeated NC State team yesterday. Robbie said, did you say MAGA? Oh, Donald Trump's my man. Lena says, you should say it like you're Howard Dean. I did that. Dodgers. Helen likes the Dodgers as well. Dodgers. World Series champion. Been saying it since the summer. Let's see here. Jeff says, winning more than Trump. Nobody can win more than Donald Trump, in my opinion. But I am. GodfatherLocks.com is winning just as much as Donald Trump. I like my man DT. And I don't like to get political on here. And again, I love everybody that likes Democrat or Republicans. I don't think that's there's no spot for politics on the show, Joe. Can't we agree? Across the board, the name Across the Board Sports Talk Show became because I want to be across the board. I want to make this a show open to the forum. I go on my rants. I have my top 5 things that I want to talk about right here on my notepad. But I want to let you guys interact, and that's what this show's been all about. I can sit here and talk about everything that's on my plate and the top 5 games of the day, which I'll recap here in a second. We'll talk about what we discussed yesterday. How about the punch? Rajon Rondo, Chris Paul going at it in the Staples Center. This guy spits on him. He throws a punch. Rondo walks off the court. We got a little brawl going on in the NBA.
Was it like a real
He punched him.
Because sometimes
he punched him, Joe.
Some of these guys, they would get into a little
scuffle
or something.
No. There was a punch. You got to YouTube it.
Well, they swing, and then it's really not a full swing. It's like, hey,
half swing. No, you should check it out.
So you spit on me, I'm whooping your ass.
Well, he claimed he spit on him. I don't think anybody saw the spit, but I think he said he claimed he spit on him.
If I see you pucker your mouth like you're about to spit, I'm swinging.
It's game on. 17-13 Chargers Titans. 13 minutes left in the fourth, and the Chargers are threatening. I think they're at the 15-yard line of Tennessee to keep you guys updated on what the hell's going on in that London game, which we've discussed at length here on the show. And my man, is that my man Bill? Is that Bill? I think that's Bill. It says, yeah, my man Billy Werkheiser from Deer of High School, my boy, my man Bill. Yeah, this is what makes this show great. I've talked to Ben Schaefer. I've talked to Billy. I've talked to people look, my man Robbie's online right now. Everybody that's on my Facebook app and, of course, on the YouTube Live, it's a way to get everybody talking sports. He said I'd pay to watch them both in the octagon. If Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo get into the octagon, someone's dying. Because those guys won't even one swing, they'll be on the floor. There'll be blood everywhere. Those guys are NBA players, and we all know how NBA, if you touch a guy like that, it's a foul in the NBA. Nobody wants to go near that. But again, that would be something to watch. Spring AWOD, my man Robbie says WWE Monday Night is always the most watched. It is the longest running TV program, but the NFL, like Micho said, gets the ratings, and of course that's why we're here doing the show on a Sunday morning talking NFL football. We do picks, we do fantasy. It consumes us. It's fair to say, Joe, it consumes us. There's an NFL game going on right now, which I'm sure everybody tuning in right now is watching and keeping an eye on what the hell's going on. But as Ease said, if he doesn't have a fantasy football implication, he doesn't care. He didn't even know there was a game today. Yeah. There are fans that don't even know there's a game. Did you know there was an NFL London game today if we didn't talk about it? No, yeah, I mean, it's like, unless the Giants were playing and that's your squad, yeah, you might know they have a 9:30 a.m. game. Yeah. But
I mean, do they really advertise? Did you see any advertising?
Well, here's the funny part about that, Joe. I'm glad you said this because the other day I'm watching the Thursday night game between the Broncos and the Cardinals. They started to advertise the Eagles Jaguars, and that's next Sunday. Yeah. They didn't even advertise this Titans-Chargers game on the commercials. And I remember I forget who I was talking to, but I remember and I said, well, you're promoting next week's London game before you're even promoting this week's London game? How does it make any sense? How does that make any sense? That means you think people are going to tune in to watch the Titans and the Chargers? So maybe they're promoting the Super Bowl champion and the Jaguars, who were almost Super Bowl contenders or in the Super Bowl, lost to New England in the Final Four. That's what they were. And Chris is confirming they only advertised the Eagles and the Jaguars. They overlooked this Titans-Chargers game. Robbie says, do I start Drew Brees against the Ravens over Tom Brady against the Bears? Oh, good God. Robbie, those are two guys I would not start today together. I don't like either start. Because this is going to lead me into the GodfatherLocks.com pick segment. Yes, of course. Every Saturday and Sunday, we do the pick segment at 11:15. It is 11:48, so we're about a half hour late, and I apologize. The show took its legs on of its own. It's been a phenomenal show. My two free picks today are the Ravens and the Bears, okay? The dark Baltimore Ravens, the defense. You know who the number one defense in the NFL right now is, Joe? The Baltimore Ravens.
Holy crap.
The Baltimore Ravens. They're 4-2. They are the number one team in the defensive football league. The Baltimore Ravens, the only team that Tom Brady has not beaten is the Baltimore Ravens. That's a stat right there. Thank you to Anise for that little nugget that he gave me. The only team that Drew Brees never beat in his career is the Baltimore Ravens. He doesn't have a win against them.
I thought I heard you say Tom Brady for a second.
No, I'm sorry. Drew Brees. Did I say Tom Brady? Drew Brees. May have. But Tom Brady has beaten the Ravens. But the Ravens have done well against them in the past, too. I will take the Baltimore Ravens today as one of my biggest picks in the NFL this season. I think the Ravens -2.5. They got a tough road coming up in the next couple of weeks. And remember, next Sunday, New Orleans goes to Minnesota. And remember what happened to the Saints last year in the NFC Championship game when Stephon Diggs broke the hearts of all those Saints fans and went to the NFC Championship game. Revenge. The Saints next week. I'm looking ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself. You know the Saints are going to get revenge next week against Minnesota in that dome. They're not going back there to lose again. So it's a look-ahead spot. You're catching the Drew Brees. You're catching the Saints. Drew Brees just got the pass for free. Don't take it. I never understood why, because everybody takes things for free. But people always said, if it's for free, don't take it. I'm giving it to you for free, and you should take it. The Baltimore Ravens. Why I like the Chicago Bears as your second free pick? I think today is a big spot for. Look what the Bears have done at home. They've beaten Seattle. They played well against Carolina. Who else did they play? I look at their schedule. I don't know who the hell they played at home. They played a few good teams, but they played the Bucs. Speaking of Robbie, he knows what they did to Tampa Bay a couple of weeks ago. I love Chicago today. What happened to New England last week in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs? As it took a lot out of them. So I go Ravens as your top tier super juice. Bet the farm. Hang out and eat some chicken wings and watch the Baltimore Ravens today at 4:00. Okay, that's your first one. The Bears, they will beat the New England Patriots today. So Robbie, I don't know who to start, bro. If you're gonna try to start the Bears or Brees or Tom Brady, that's going to be tough to really make a decision because I think the Ravens are the best pick of the day, and I think the Bears are the second pick of the day. What a show today has been, Joe. An unbelievable amount of interaction. Everybody tuning in with the comments and stuff like that. It's been an amazing show. Helen says they don't advertise in London. How about that little nugget? So when we're talking about whether or not this Titans-Chargers game was being advertised, it's not being advertised in London. Very interesting. That's a little bit nugget. That is very dumb. That is very dumb. But they are advertising it for us in America to watch this game, and people are watching it. I think that's why the record number of listeners on today's show and across the board sports talk show. I really appreciate everybody chiming in. The game has helped, I believe. Everybody's kind of juiced up on the NFL. That was the main subject of today's show. If you're looking to recap the program, we talked about the NFL. London games. Is everybody a fan of it? 9:30 in the morning, which if you're on the West Coast, which I see my wonderful sister-in-law is tuning in right now, so a big hello to Rena. And I mentioned Oregon earlier about how I wake up early in the morning to watch these games. I'm up very early, and the West Coast family does it. They wake up, the games start at 10 o'clock. How do you think they feel every week that they got to wake up early and watch the NFL? So you have a 9:30 London game, it's not that late. And we talked about it on the show. We had a lot of good debate from everybody that was watching this and saying, well, I'm a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm eating breakfast while watching the NFL. If I don't have a fantasy football player, I don't really care. Again, Elias McCool said he didn't even know there was a game today. So it's a definitely a big debate for the NFL, whether or not they're advertising internationally or not. I think it's a great way to start the NFL Sunday. And I think it's a great way to keep the product going. Look, it's the best thing the NFL's got going for them. Yeah. Honestly, I do think that. I think that's great. And it makes another reason why to wake up early and set your lineups for fantasy and bet on the games and watch it. Joey Hadid says, question, is Godfather Locks available to download on Apple or Android? If not, is there any questions or suggestions into making it possible on the store for people to interact and make their picks instead of going on the website? Well, I think Joey...
You can go on YouTube and download it.
You can, but I don't know why. I think the GodfatherLocks.com, or what does he mean the website, the show, the site? Because there's no interaction on that. It's just straight picks, bro. You get the pick, you pay for it, you get the picks, and you go and make some bets, whether you go in New Jersey or online. We don't have an app, is what he's asking for. If the GodfatherLocks.com app, no, you can go to just go to your smartphone and type it in the Safari page or your browser. Go on Google GodfatherLocks.com. I think that's the best way to get it. But I don't know if we can make it happen. I think we can get that. We can make it happen. Why not? There's an app for that, right? We'll make it happen. I think that's what he's asking, right? If you could,
I would assume have a private message.
For people,
the nitty gritty details.
But he's saying to interact and make their picks instead of going on the website. There's no interaction on this website. The interaction happens here. The only interaction you're going to get is when it says take the Ravens and the Bears. That's all it's going to tell you on the site. So visit GodfatherLocks.com. You know what I mean? There's a lot of text going on. There's no. Yeah. We interact on this show.
Well, you know what? To be honest, an app would make it easy because they just go boom, Godfather Lock app.
Let me see what he's got.
Yeah. Purchase, boom, done.
Yeah. We can make it happen. We'll do it.
You get your little ticker tape going so you get live feeds and updates from Vegas and all that.
I think we should do that. It probably adds another element to it. E says it could be regional advertising in reference to the London games, whether or not it was advertised or not. Danny says Drew Brees over Tom Brady. I'll leave you guys on your island alone because I would not start either. You just had to remind me, shake my head about Robbie when they went to Chicago and took a beating. Helen says my friends over there don't even hear about it until Saturday. Meaning Helen's talking about the London games. I'm assuming. See, this is what happens when all these conversations are happening at the same time. But that's okay. Joey Hadid says an app. Do you guys plan on making it happen? We can. We can try it. We'll do everything we possibly can here on the show.
We'll try to get our IT technical guy, John Hernandez, and Anise
to create an app. Yeah, we need an app for that. We'll try to create a GodfatherLocks.com app. I like that idea. Go on, buy a pick, bet the pick, and you're good. We will try to get you an app as soon as we can. John could do that. I think John can make that happen, right? He probably make it
one of them two guys can.
Yeah, we have some geniuses. Yes, the London games, Helen said. Okay, so Helen has some friends. I'm gathering that Helen has a lot of friends in London that watches this or tracks this. I mean, they don't even know about it until Saturday. So there's no advertising for these games. I mean, that's crazy. You said earlier that's pretty bad on their part to not advertise it.
I mean, from a business standpoint, you're already making money, but imagine how much you can.
You can make, absolutely. And it's like, for me, why wouldn't you? Yeah, Misho's saying they're not going to compete with soccer. You're not trying to compete with soccer. We discussed that at length. These London games are not meant to compete with soccer. It's just meant to keep getting that product out to let people know about the NFL. That's what it's about. Ashley, Janice, Susie, everybody tuning in lately. Jim, Billy, my man Billy, everybody that's tuning in live, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This is across-the-board sports talk show, an interactive sports talk show, one of the best shows we've had this year, Joe. Don't you say this show's been phenomenal. But I will say this, the Chiefs and the Patriots, for me, are going to be two teams that game last Sunday took a lot out of them. So if I was a betting man, if I was looking at it from the outside, I would say stay away from the Patriots and Chiefs today. One of my biggest picks on the site today is the Bears, plus the 1 point or the 1.5 points. Whatever you guys get picks on the site today is the Bears, plus the 1 point or the 1.5 points. Whatever you guys got going on right now in that line. I don't want to get off the Facebook app to go look at the updated line. I've got it at +2 on the website. So if you can take the Chicago Bears, go for it. The biggest pick of the day on GodfatherLocks.com is the Ravens, -2.5. I think the Saints, a little bit of a look-ahead spot. Look, the Saints are one of my teams. I think they will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl come Super Bowl Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sticking by my prediction, Joe. Steelers Saints coming up in the Super Bowl in February. I'm still sticking by it, but I think they're a little bit looking at in the Super Bowl in February. I'm still sticking by it, but I think they're a little bit looking ahead to this game next week against Minnesota. The revenge factor, right? We talk about that revenge. It's crazy because they lost that game. That was one of the most heartbreaking losses that anybody could ever experience last year if you're the New Orleans Saints when they lost to the Minnesota Vikings. So definitely a revenge factor next week. I don't think today is a good spot for the New Orleans Saints today. Robbie, I'm with you today. I know Robbie's a big Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. I'm going to get to Billy's comment in a second, which is a very bold statement, but I agree. Robbie says, I hope they lose every game. You're a Bucs fan. It's very similar like to a Giants and Cowboys fan talking about the Eagles. You know damn well you're not cheering for the Eagles today, Joe. I know the Giants are 1-5. You cheer against everybody that plays them. Billy says, Devontae Parker and Demaryius Thomas both get traded by the end of 2018. I couldn't agree more, especially with DT. I think Demaryius Thomas is on his way out. You could obviously see Case Keenum and Thomas are not on the same page. He doesn't even look at him anymore. It's all about Emmanuel Sanders. He likes that kid Sutton. They've got a great running game now with Lindsey and Freeman, the 1-2 punch that Denver has had going for him this year. So I can definitely see that trade. Both guys leaving. Devontae Parker's not in good graces down in Miami. I think it's time for him to leave. And Billy's a big Dolphins fan. So one of the Dolphins fans that I grew up with, went to school with. You know how much I've supported the Dolphins for my lifetime there, Billy. And of course, a lot of people in the chat room know I am a Dolphins fan at heart. It's time that he ships it out of there and goes. But a great NFL Sunday today. This show, I'm losing gas, man. You hear my voice now? I need some tea. Maybe get some little honey tea or something like that. Man, I can't. I am gassed out following all these conversations that have been going on. On Facebook. It's been a great show. A phenomenal show today. A lot of interaction. Look, the London games. Look, like it or hate it, love it or hate it. You know you watched, and I know a lot of people are watching right now. It's late in the fourth quarter. It's a touchdown game. Tennessee's trying to cut into that lead. You know you're watching the NFL, Joe. I think that's what we all could agree on. You're watching it. If they throw anything out to you, you're watching it. Yeah, that's just how it works.
Especially if it's going to be a good game. It doesn't matter who's playing. If
I agree.
It's a good game, smash mouth football, you're going to watch.
Yeah, and as George was saying earlier, 9:30 a.m. till midnight, you can't ask for anything better than that as an NFL fan. I just think the product itself could be improved. We asked what you thought hurt the most with the product. I do think, for me, that there's the flags, right? The flags really hurt it, and it's going to continue to hurt it. But they're trying to throw out, this international series that I'm a big fan of. I went on record today saying it. I'm all for this 9:30 games. I'm going to go catch the end of the game right now. Joey says Bengals winning in Arrowhead Stadium. Could happen. I'm not taking the Chiefs, that's for sure. Stay away from it. Elias McCool, great job today across the board. Sports talk show. Billy Werkheiser says Parker and Tannehill out and rebuild. That's if you're a Dolphins supporter. Ryan Tannehill, very disappointing in what's going on with Tannehill. The guy can't stay healthy. The Dolphins definitely need to readdress and rebuild what the hell they got going on down there. But they are 4-2, off to a surprising start. All right, guys, it was a phenomenal show today. Big shout out to JDM Photography for the lights and the backdrop and everything going on. We will be live at The Cut. Yes, The Cut Above the Rest, premier sponsor of the show, 1058 3rd Street in Whitehall, 610-443-0511 or 0511. I've been ripped for doing that, by the way. When you say numbers without saying the 0511 or 0511, people complain about that. When you say O or 0, you know what I meant. It's an O, it's 0. Damn people, man. 610-443-0511. We will be live at The Cut next Saturday. I got to solidify that with Matt. Stay tuned for
You know who needs to go to The Cut? Yeah. That sports announcer, AJ Smith. That haircut is terrible.
Which one? AJ or Stephen A.
Stephen.
The guy I was talking about earlier. Yeah, Stephen A. is one of my favorite guys in broadcasting.
He's got that real barber though. He should go to The Cut.
But look at my hair from the barber, man. Let me say so myself.
Close up there. You go.
Let me say it so myself. My barber. Look at that. Chris Noga. If my man Chris is listening, he takes care of his hair, man. I got to go to him this week and take care of this hair. Look at that thick black hair. If Albert was listening, I don't know. He's MIA. Albert Yakub from the law office. Albert Yakub. He would say, "Great hair today, Joe." I feel like he has a crush on me when he says my hair is so nice. I don't know. I look at pictures of myself back when I was going to school with Billy and Robbie and Joey Hadid, all my friends here on the Facebook app. I used to buzz my hair. What was I thinking? So one of my friends should have told me, dude, what are you doing? If you can grow hair, grow hair. I know my brother Ted, if he was listening, he would probably say, I would love to grow hair if I can grow hair. I should have done that when I was younger. Now I'm able to do it. I should have done it a long time ago. A long time ago. Billy says, awesome job as always. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Across the Board Sports Talk Show. The free picks today, Baltimore. Just like yesterday. Clemson. Dodgers. How about Ravens? Take the Ravens today. The Eagles, must-win situation. If you want to make a statement, you don't do it against the 1-4 Giants. You do it against the Carolina Panthers today, and you get this thing rolling. Do the Eagles get a victory? What stands out to you in the NFL? We'll recap this as the show goes on next week on Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Everybody tuning in today, thank you. It was been a phenomenal show. YouTube Live, Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Joe Eunice on Twitter. JoeYounes15 on Twitter. If you want to become my friend on YouTube Live, subscribe. Right, Joe? We got to get these subscriptions, man.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
LSS. That's all you got to do.
And what we can do is for every milestone subscriber, we'll do a free
shirt.
T-shirt.
How about this shirt right here? The
T-shirt and a pic.
The PG shirt. The PG shirt, not the one. If you know what I'm talking, look at that. That's a nice shirt, man. I'm trying to
flip it around.
I'm trying to fit back into this thing, man. This is the GodfatherLocks.com T-shirt right here. How about the logo? Yeah, it's nice.
Like the ladies on QVC.
Oh, when they put like this product right here, this shirt right here, I'm gonna make a big box of them, and anybody that wants them as far as a listener on Across the Board Sports Talk Show, like Joe said, subscribe on YouTube, send me a message, and we'll throw you a shirt. How about that? We're just nice people here. We're giving out free picks. We're talking about London games when the game's going on. I've disconnected myself from actually watching the game, and I'm gonna shut the hell up because I want to watch the end of this game and go catch it. But everybody tuning in, thank you right now. Joey's asking for where can I pick up a shirt? Joe, we'll make it happen. Don't worry. When we get the order, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do a live show from the Cut. We'll have a live show from Laziz Mediterranean Grill. We got a live show coming up from Meza. We'll be all over the freaking East Coast. Soon enough, we'll be doing a live show from MetLife Stadium talking about the Giants one day. That's where we're going. We're headed next. I want to do a live show in Monmouth Park up there in Jersey. A live sports betting show. Me and Joe were talking about it yesterday. We might be doing a show where we're just talking about lines and we're talking about the games. We'll keep you tuned. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to GodfatherLocks.com's presentation of Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Everybody, have a great Sunday. Eat some steak, some wings. Go to call up Biagio. They're closed today. Call them up tomorrow for the Monday night game. Giants tomorrow, Joe. I like them tomorrow. +4. Give him another free pick. Why the hell not? I gotta just shut the hell up. Across the Board Sports Talk Show. Enjoy the games. Robbie says go to church. That's where I'm gonna head to. I go to church later in the day. That's the evening thing. 6 o'clock is my church. God bless everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the football. Even though the NFL sucks, enjoy the football. GodfatherLocks.com and Across the Board Sports Talk Show. See you later.